Hi, everybody. Jason Smith here. Thank you for joining me for this episode of The Truth About Social Ads. I'm an agency owner specializing in Facebook and Instagram ads, and I have dedicated my professional life to helping you learn what others won't tell you about Facebook ads. You know, I believe there's so much information that no one is sharing about Facebook ads and how you can fail and win running ads for your business and when it's time to hire an agency. That's why I'm here bringing ideas and information that can help you run successful Facebook and Instagram ads. Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Jason Smith coming at you with another episode of The Truth About Social Ads. Excited to kick off this episode. I think it's going to be a good one. I think we'll be talking about data wars today. Eric, you ready for this one?
Yeah, I'm excited about this one.
Yeah, this is a huge topic right now. When we say data wars, because literally that's what it is. People are trying to, or not people, companies are trying to strong arm others into doing what they think is best without getting a consensus of everybody else. And we have some really good examples today of how some of the biggest names in the industry opted to let others participate, right, Eric? So
yep.
I think it'll be really good. So Eric, you want to tell everybody what we're going to be talking about? Yeah.
So today, whether or not we can put it in the title, today is Data Wars, Apple is tracking you. And that's what I want people to know from this episode is, there's this banner going out like Apple saying, we're the good guy. And, I've used Apple forever.
Me too.
I've always been a huge fan of Apple my whole life. Steve Jobs, right?
Yep.
Now, here's what bothers us about this big iOS update. Essentially, Apple is saying, you guys are bad guys for sharing all this data, but then they are tracking all of our data and they're using that data to make lots of money. So I'm going to give a few examples here of why this is, in my opinion, messed up. So number one, the other day I was out to, my favorite taco spot with my girlfriend, and she was like, oh my gosh, look at this. And I was like, what? She's like, I opted out of Apple Maps today. And where we're at right now, just to put some context in it, is the Apple, and I always say this, so this content can be evergreen, but if you're coming back and listening, the Apple prompt has not rolled out yet, if it still does. So this prompt was just the standard one that exists now about, do you want this app tracking while you're using the app, never, etc. So my girlfriend Olivia opted out and she said, no, I don't want Apple Maps tracking me. She said, no, never. Well, that same day, we're out to eat and she gets a notification that says, hey, you're here. Would you like to go home? Your home is here. Well, they're tracking her. They're tracking literally every movement she makes. So don't be fooled. Apple is not saying we're not going to track you. They are saying we are going to beat everyone in business and not share our data with any of you. It's messed up, in my opinion. That is messed up. This new era, to me, now I know this is how Apple has done things historically in certain regards. This is different. And they may or may not roll out this change. I'm going to give you my opinion. Everybody's had a really rough 2020. There are small business owners that are struggling right now and that rely on Facebook and Google and other platforms besides Apple to keep themselves in their house. And Apple is making a move that is going to put those people out of business. It's messed up. And in my opinion, they're going to get... I actually believe they may not do it because they are going to put, let's just call it 50,000 businesses out of business, 50,000 small businesses. What do you think that's going to look like in the news for Apple's brand? It's going to make them look like assholes. I don't think it's cool, and that's my stance on it. So Go ahead, Jason. Let's get your take on it before we start talking about Tesla and stuff like that. Go ahead. What's your take on this whole thing?
Yeah, Well, my take on this is I already jumped ship, and I've always been an Apple fan. I've had an iPhone since they came out. I've had like the old school iPods, right? Like when the MP3 players were coming out and all that stuff. I've always been a big Apple guy. My whole family, wife, kids, everybody, we all have Apple products. I use an iMac. Laptops is all Apple. And then all this started happening, and literally it got to me. I'm just like, this is ridiculous. And so I actually already jumped ship, and I'm an Android user now, still getting used to the phone. So if you text or call me and I don't respond right away, or I'm like, who's this? All my contacts didn't transfer over, which I'm a little pissed off about, but I'm good with that because I'm so ticked off at Apple right now. I jumped ship, and now I have a Galaxy phone. So that'll give you kind of my stance. My other stance is I agree with Eric here. Bottom line is this: is Apple is trying to strong arm everybody for their data, and I don't agree with everything Facebook does. I don't agree with everything Apple does. I don't agree with a lot of things that people do or businesses do. But this is where I draw the line, because we're at risk here of putting small businesses, agencies, people who run their own ads, literally out of business if you don't know what's going on.
Yeah, and I remember what you're gonna say, because I want to add something there. Like this is not this is very different than now, instead of listening to music here, you're gonna listen to music here. These people are going to be out of business. They're going to have no money. Like, this is going to impact them majorly. I know that disrupting is part of the tech world, but when you're disrupting and you are, putting small businesses out of business, it's a whole new thing. Sorry, dude. I didn't mean to cut you off. Keep going.
No, yeah. I mean, it's crazy because, and again, like, we may be being over dramatic here, but I don't think so, because we just got notified that Apple's pushing it out another 2 months. So that means that there's something else going on. And what Eric said earlier was Apple's still tracking you. That was one of the biggest things that Facebook had a problem with. They said specifically, fighting this, they're like, okay, wait a second here. So why does Apple get to have access to all their information, but we can't, or TikTok can't, or Snapchat can't? Right? Like, why do they get to have access to all of this, but we can't also participate in this? It's not like they're using Facebook's using data to be malicious or sneaky or anything like that. We all know what happens, right? Like, if Facebook knows what I'm doing, they can better tailor an experience, a better user experience for me on Facebook by serving me ads that I want to see, not by serving me a bunch of crap that my mom wants.
Yep.
And I think, again, I'll say it again, like I said it in a couple episodes ago, I think Apple's trying to make a play to make their own ad platform, which is not going to go over well, and it's not going to be as good as Facebook. I'll tell you that right now. It's not.
Yep.
Because Facebook's been doing this for years. It's come to a point where Facebook's really good at it, and it just sucks. It really does. And I'm done with Apple. I'm like, I love their computers and stuff, but it pisses me off.
Yeah, and here I am on my MacBook Pro, my iPhone, and my AirPod Pros, right? So we all obviously, not all of us, but many of us use Apple products. So let me give you, I want to get to the part where we talk about Tesla and kind of use that, because I know everybody isn't going to be on the same page here and is going to think, well, yeah, but Apple's not going to let this happen and Apple's not going to let that happen. Well, this isn't a political thing. Apple's pissing everyone off. Let me give you an example real quick before we jump into the Tesla analogy. So, not analogy, story. So, if anybody uses an Amazon Fire Stick and you go in there, now this is true as of when we're recording this, and you go in there and you watch a show, an Apple TV show on Amazon Fire Stick. Well, they won't share data. So, guess what? You pause an episode right in the middle, you're binging a show and you're on episode 3 at 30 minutes, you stop it, they won't share the data. So now you can't restart where you were watching. It's a bad experience. And there is a way to go about that without, being this aggressive or this malicious towards small businesses. It's not cool. And that's the thing Facebook keeps saying is like, they made an industry change without consulting the industry. That's like the thing that they keep saying is like, they made an industry change and didn't consult the industry. Now, there's a lot, like, we're lucky because we're getting more business from it because people are coming to us going, what do I do? And these smaller agencies can't help them. So we're getting more business, right?
Yep.
Not trying to brag there, trying to say not cool. Like, how are these, 100,000 ecom kids that are, became entrepreneurs and started their cool, Shopify store and ran their own ads? How's it going to affect them? Because they don't have a partner manager at Facebook. It sucks. So now let's talk about Tesla. So, and I pulled stuff. I had to go back and dig a little bit this, but I researched it before the show. So, and we're going to talk about Tesla and the internet. Tesla, when Elon, and a lot of people know this. So for the tech junkies that know all about this, they might roll their eyes, but this is for people that don't, this is valuable. Elon Musk decided to keep open source patents, which means we're all in this together. If we blow up the globe and we overheat it and we all die because of, now, not getting political here, but if that happens, we're all screwed. So he kept patents, open source patents, so that other companies could build electric vehicles faster. It benefits everyone. He shared. They're still killing it. They're still the best, right? But they shared. And what that means is that they probably lost revenue there, right? Well, of course they did. But what it also means is that other automakers, instead of taking 50 years to get all electric vehicles, like I even see the articles now and it's like, whatever company, do not quote me on this, will have all electric vehicles by, 2030 or 35. I'm like, damn, could you imagine if Tesla was really like, trying to hammer on this and didn't let, it would have been 2055, right? Don't quote me on that again, not an engineer, an auto engineer, but basically those open source patents allow things to move faster and allow the rest of the industry to adapt and stay relevant. What Apple is doing is they're saying, we're not sharing. We don't care if all of you go out of business. And like Jason said, I don't know if he said $1 billion, but that's a fact. They have spent $1 billion, Facebook has, trying to fight Apple on this. And Apple's like, nope, we don't care. So essentially, all these ecom kids, all these small agencies, we don't care about you. And in my opinion, that's messed up.
Yeah, and just to touch on the Elon or the Tesla subject is like he left this open so we could all benefit from it.
Yep.
Right. That's pretty cool. He could have cornered the market and said, nope, no one else, because I know what I'm doing here. No one else is gonna be able to manufacture and make electric cars.
And he could have made it hell for everyone.
He could have been a total dick about it. But he wasn't. He was like, you know what? Yeah, cool. If GM wants to make them, cool. Dude, I saw the Hummer, which I'm not a big Hummer fan, but I saw the electric Hummer. Dude, that thing is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, imagine if he wouldn't have opened it up for everybody or cornered the market and Tesla was the only brand that you could buy.
And they charged more than people could afford. So you look at the Model 3, like you look at the other, like the Chevy Volt, right?
Yeah.
Like they're made, it's being made so that everyone can drive an electric car. Now, if that Model 3 was so premium that it was $120,000, like, do you think everybody's going to be able to afford one of those? No, that's not going to help the globe, right?
Right. Exactly. Dude. So I really want to touch on the internet portion of the podcast as well, Eric. I think you did a lot of research on this, which was really awesome. And
dive in.
Well, no, what I'm saying is, apart from Tesla, like the next topic that you're going to bring up, it, in my opinion, is bigger than this.
Yeah.
Right. Like we want to talk about the internet and basically Well, why don't you intro it and I'll kind of give my 2 cents on it because, again, this is another example of how somebody could have cornered the market and not let anybody else have access to the internet, basically, and do things on the internet. But he was like, nope, cool, let's open it up for everybody and it benefits everybody. So go ahead and dive into the internet portion of it too, which is
Yeah,
really
I'm just gonna read this real quick to make sure I say it completely accurately. So this is an article in 2014 from the Atlantic. Basically, they talk about Tesla and then they talk about the internet. So I'm gonna read this. Perhaps the most famous patent shunning inventor of all time, Sir Tim Berners-Lee, the creator of the World Wide Web, didn't want a penny for the internet he built at CERN. Not doing so, argue many, made for a more open, democratic web presence. Now, don't take that politically. Web presence that would have fundamentally been impossible without Berners-Lee's insistence that the web be free for all. Now, could you imagine if the internet was owned by a private company? Could you imagine the power that they would have and
cool, man.
what they could do with that?
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
that would be a whole, we have, these shows, The Social Dilemma and all everything we're going through trying to figure out this world with digital technology and AI and everything. Could you imagine if that was private? It would be crazy.
Yep.
So that's the intro right there. Why don't you chime in here?
Yeah. So, I think, again, I think even this is even bigger than Tesla, right? Like he kept the patents open for electric cars. Okay, cool. But could you imagine if this guy, if Berners-Lee's, it's so hard to say that. I don't know.
I know. It's because the S. That's what it is.
The S is on both.
But I hear it in Big Bang Theory all the time, so I kind of heard it a lot.
Yeah. So Berners-Lee's, right? Like if this guy would have said, nope, you know what? I'm keeping this. Everybody's got to pay for this. Imagine, well, the internet probably wouldn't be where it's at today if that was the case, number one. But imagine if he would have been greedy and tried to strong arm everybody. That's a pretty cool dude right there, if you ask me, Yep. And again, I'm keeping it in really simple terms here. It's just like, and I go back to it, like, why can't Apple just be like, yeah, you know what? Cool. Like, install your apps on our phone. We're still making a ton of freaking money from all these downloads and all in the data coming in and all that. Let's just, we'll keep it cool with everybody. And, everybody gets a little piece of the pie instead of saying, we're one of the most powerful companies in the world. We're actually going to be more powerful, by the way, by doing this.
Yep.
And we're going to try to corner the market and we're going to put a bunch of people out of business. And it's going to affect how we see Facebook's data and, all this stuff. Just so you guys know, I want to make this clear. Apple is still tracking you.
That's the one thing I want to make sure in this episode that the listeners get. Apple is still, oh yeah, and let me jump in here real quick, Jason. Trust me, guys, if you're put on trial and you're put on a stand, they're going to know everything you've done on the internet. Trust me. Apple's not going to protect you. They're going to know every single thing that you've done, and it's going to be public, and they're going to know it, right? So, Facebook and everyone else's kind of philosophy is there can be privacy and transparency.
Right.
And I agree. I believe there can be privacy and there can be transparency. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Keep going.
Yeah, no. My biggest thing is why does Apple? Why is Apple the only ones that get to take advantage of this?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like it's a valid issue here, and of course I probably have, I'm a little more partial because we are a Facebook agency. I do enjoy the Facebook ads platform. I don't post much on my personal Facebook because the last thing I want to do is post all these things on my personal Facebook when I've been running ads all day. But like, dude, there should be no reason why Apple has to tell everybody, nope, we're the only ones. We're being the good guys here, but they're not, you guys. They're still tracking every move you make. And when they say you're opting out, you're only opting out for the apps that you have installed on your phone, not for Apple. They still have all your data. They know exactly what you're doing. They know what corner you're standing on.
Literally.
So it's a huge deal, right? And we get a little worked up about it, I think. And it's not because our agency is going to go downhill for all this.
We're
I'm
gonna be fine, dude. We're
right.
gonna be fine.
Totally good. We're gonna be fine. Like, we're totally gonna be good. What I'm more concerned about is when I see people going through a hard time in the pandemic and restaurants that I love to eat at can't open because somebody says it's not healthy or whatever. And I live in Colorado, so I live in a state where a lot of stuff is open, but a lot of stuff is still shut down. And then like that lady in Los Angeles the other day that like they shut her down for outdoor seating, but yet there's a film crew right there and they're all eating outdoors, like 100 people out there.
Yeah.
Like this is kind of the same with Apple. Like they're just strong arming. And they're doing it at a really bad time. you
Yeah.
know, people are just getting going again. And I don't know, man. It's tough. It's a tough situation, and I don't like to be strong armed in anything I do. I'd like to have a choice, but if that choice means that hey, I'm opting out, then guess what? Apple shouldn't be able to track my data either.
Yeah.
They should not be able to track my activity. If I say I don't want anybody tracking my activity, then guess what? Then Apple doesn't get access to it either.
Well, dude, and that
But they do.
example that example the other day with Olivia is a perfect example. She literally said Apple Maps can never track me, and the same day gets the most intrusive alert at the moment. Like I know there'll be more in the future, but gets the most intrusive message you could get. Hi, I'm a robot. I know where you are, and I would like to tell you where to go. That's
Yep.
Apple. That's Apple. Like, make Siri better. Make the freaking keyboard work. There's lots of stuff. Now, and here's the thing. Like, there's lots of talk about what Apple's going to do. They're going to start their own ad network. But, I mean, I just don't realistically, and this is something we haven't really talked about, Jason, but okay. So me and Jason have talked a lot about Apple is probably going to try to start their own ad network. Now, that may be on Apple TV. That may be available to small businesses. It may not, if they even do that. But here's kind of my thought on that. And this is the part you and I haven't talked about. If they start a social network, how long is it going to take for people to get on that network and load their products onto it? If they were to, right? If they were to, the small businesses aren't going to have time. They're not going to have the 6 months of no revenue to figure something new out and fail at the old thing. They're going to go out of business.
Yep.
We're not. They are.
Yeah.
So that's where I just really believe that Apple is targeting, just totally disregarding the small guys. Now, this is going to affect the big guys too. For those of you who know like the full how it's going to affect everybody, it's really going to affect big and it's really going to affect small. We're kind of in a good place for it, but it's just really strong arming, like you said. It is what it is. And the last thing I'll say is that I really think they might pull this thing back, and the reason I do is what I said earlier. I think they are going to get such a bad rap for it that it's going to really hurt their brand, because when Apple, there's no one else to blame besides Apple for this thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's no one else to blame. And you have, let's say, 100,000 people go out of business in the US. Dude, their brand is going to suffer. It'll never be the same if they do that.
Yep.
And that's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, and we were having a conversation today with a client because we're trying to make all of our clients aware of what's going on. Some know about it, some don't, because they just trust that we know what we're doing. So we're in the platform all the time doing what we do every day. And the client literally said, like, once we explained everything to them, they're like, wait a second. Like, if this actually happens, there's going to be like anarchy,
Yep.
businesses going out of business and going under, and business owners who are running Facebook ads waking up one day and like have no clue what to do or what a 7-day attribution window is and a 28-day attribution window and all that stuff. Like, literally, it's going to be pandemonia because this could affect a lot of people in a lot of different ways. And I don't know what the exact number is. I kind of want to look it up now that we've kind of talked about it, but the majority of traffic that is, or money that's being spent on Facebook, is small businesses.
Yep.
there's only one Amazon. Yes, they're huge and they spend all this money. There's only one Facebook. They're huge. They spend all this money. There's a lot of big Targets and Audis and Chevy and all that. But there's way more small businesses that are spending a lot of money on Facebook. I mean, you look at our clients. Like, some clients are spending, $500K a month on Facebook ads, and no one knows who these businesses are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not really a small business, but it's going to affect a lot of people in a lot of different ways. And I think that's why Apple pushed it off again another 2 months, is because if they weren't thinking about it, kind of like what you said, it wouldn't have got pushed off. It would have already been in effect.
Yeah.
And maybe they're thinking like, oh man. And remember that email we got from Facebook, and it has hundreds of small business owners, and they're doing like a video testimonial about how this could affect their business and essentially ruin their business.
Yeah.
And to me, that totally hit home. I'm like, man, like, and I got almost kind of emotional a little bit, because there's all these business owners talking about how this change could effectively wipe them out from the face of the planet.
Yeah. And let me go in on that point a little more. So we're in a few masterminds as an agency, and we were on a call a couple weeks ago with, Shopify store owners. Every store owner in the group has done over $1 million. So most of them have like, $12 million stores, stuff like that. And the whole topic of, Jason, this call you were on for like 5 minutes, and then you were driving, so you had to jump off. But the whole thing, it was the end of it was actually a little bit ago. It was the end of 2020, and the whole thing was these guys going like, we are so lucky to be in the position that we're in. And then the one guy in particular is talking about, I think he's got like 30 employees. I don't remember exactly, but I was able to give my employee a double raise today. Well, that store owner sells his product on Facebook. So
Yep.
there's 30 people. Is he going to, so we've already been through 2020. We've already, the government's already sent out stimulus checks. Everyone's been furloughed. Now, the few businesses that maybe are thriving, or the ones that are barely hanging on, he's going to go have to lay off like half his employees.
Yep.
How is that? And that's why we get kind of passionate and pissed off about that. I mean, dude, I had the best year ever in 2020. Now, I don't say that lightly. I know how lucky I am, and how lucky we are as an agency, and also like how grateful I am to be here and be doing what we're doing. But think about the people who have had terrible years and barely hung on, and you have that all the way to these store owners that are doing 10 mil and that may have to lay off 10 people.
Yeah.
Why are we doing something right now that's going to make people lay more people off? It's messed up. And that's really where I get kind of like pissed, is like thinking about all the people that this is going to affect that are going to get laid off. We have a choice here. This isn't a pandemic. This isn't like a virus that we haven't figured out. This is a decision on Apple's part to do this. So anyways, we are a little biased because we run Facebook, but we've thought this thing through logically, and it doesn't need to happen. And that's my stance on it. So
yeah, for sure. I feel the same way. It's a little messed up, and who knows? Maybe if it does drop, maybe it won't be as bad as what we thought. But Facebook's preparing for the worst. We are preparing for the worst, not because we think we're going to go out of business or it's going to affect the way we run ads, but it's more of just seeing the ripple effect of what could happen if this actually does take place. So our advice on this would be, if it does roll out, and it may roll out, we're hoping it doesn't, but if it does roll out, allow these apps to track you. And it's not just Facebook, it's TikTok, it's Snapchat, it's any app that you install on your phone to make it a better experience for you. And it's been happening for years, you guys. It's nothing new, right? Like, Facebook's tracking you, Instagram, all the platforms are tracking you, and you haven't had any negative effects from it. It's fine. It's actually a better way for us to be able to market to you and show you the things that you want to see. So, no, I would say that's it for me. I'm passionate about it because it's going to affect a lot of people and it's going to suck.
Yeah. And I'll throw this out there too, just in case like any clients are listening, or we are very, very fortunate to have the resources that we do at our agency to know how to deal with this thing. So I want anyone that's listening, as far as like with us, we're good. We're going to be fine. We figured out a solution. We've been doing workarounds for certain things for years, but it's really like the smaller agencies that don't have partner managers, the smaller agencies that don't have partner agencies, the smaller businesses that don't, research and really understand what's going to happen. They're going to wake up one day and they're going to start losing money, and it's going to be very painful. So I got to express, we have a solution we're fortunate enough to have the resources and connections and, account managers, partner managers to be able to navigate this well. So have confidence there. And we're doing everything we can, but there's not much we can do for the people that are going to get screwed by this thing. So yeah. All right. Yeah. And then I will end with this. If anybody, wants to know what you should do, if you're listening, we have a download, and you can go to our website, spotlightsocialadvertising.com/iOS. And it's a checklist. It's a repurposed Facebook asset that we can share publicly. And it's a checklist for everything you need to do to prepare for the iOS update. And if you're running a business and running your own ads, like, not trying to sell you here, but feel free to hit us up because we'd love to help. And that's what I'll end it on. Anything else to add, Jason?
No, that's it. Yeah. We enjoy doing the podcast. Again, we try to keep it as real as we possibly can, so you guys learn some killer info, but we keep it real. So Eric, thanks for being on. And as always, we appreciate everybody listening. And if you need anything, please let us know. We're here to help.
And we'll be back tomorrow morning, run your ads. So, all right, you guys have a good night.
Yep.
And Jason, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks a lot. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Hey, thanks so much for listening to The Truth About Social Ads. I really hope you enjoyed the episode. Please visit our website at truthaboutsocialads.com for show notes and additional episodes. And if you have time, please subscribe to the podcast and please consider rating and reviewing the show if you enjoyed it. That will help other people find us. By the way, I would love to hear from you. Please send me an email at jason@spotlightsocialllc.com with your feedback, questions, or a topic you'd like me to talk about on the show. If you send me a question, maybe I'll read it on the show. See you later. Bye.